Today I'm going to be giving you a taste of what our discovery sessions look like, or at least the very beginning of it. If you're looking to have a clear message to work off of when you're creating content or media and trying to move your marketing efforts forward, then this is for you. Welcome to the Message Mastery Bootcamp. I'm so excited to be sharing the first step that we take all of our clients through if they need their marketing established and they want to have a clear message to be creating their content off of. In our experience, companies that build a very strong and clear message first before creating not only have a better time through the process of creating, coming up with ideas, and knowing what's in line with their message and what's not in line with their message, and the whole process of running that up the ladder and making sure it's approved and running it back down. Every part of that process is so much easier when you know your message and you know what's off message and on message. And whatever you're creating, whether it's blogs all the way to doing lives, whatever you're doing, like social media content, every time you look to create, write, present, or anything, you always can ask yourself, is this in line with my company message? All right, so let's get started. The three main points that we're going to be focusing on today are understanding the pain points that your company solves. So we're going to get into that, and you're going to know exactly what I mean by all of this. Then we're going to discover and put words to what is it like to work with you, and what's the big picture benefit that people get from working with you. And then at the end of this, our goal here is that every time you think of investing, whether it's money, time, energy, effort, in any piece of media, you'll always be able to run it past this sentence or two that is your message and know, is this in line? Should we invest in this? Is this going to be off-putting? Maybe this is off message. And generally you'll know whether or not this is going to be a really good investment or not. When you go to create, a lot of times just knowing that you are on message also means that this is going to be effective. You know who you're talking to, you know what you're seeking to achieve, and you know how you're looking to make their lives better. And it's really clear. You've spent the time getting the language around it really, really clear. So you could feel confident in yourself that this energy and effort that you're putting in is really going to pan out and become something great for you and your clients. It's going to really actually advance your business, and this time will be well spent. It's not just a shot in the dark. You really can have so much confidence around it when you're going into it. We want to create content that not only that you will feel good for you and your team to be creating, and therefore it's way more likely that you'll do this over an extended amount of time, right? And that these campaigns, you're going to keep building off of them and make them better and better, and it's going to be a fun, enjoyable experience, because all creative processes like these build off of themselves. So you'll do something and then you'll realize what could have been better, and then you'll do something better and better next time, and you just keep stacking your experience and everything just gets better over time. So knowing that there's an arc where things get better, you're setting yourself up for an experience that you're going to enjoy, come back to, and be able to really be consistent with, which is the best way to set yourself up for success whenever starting to create content for your business. So without any further ado, we're going to go straight into the first step of this process. And one of the first questions we'll ever ask any of our clients in our discovery sessions or whenever we're kicking off someone's marketing is we really like to focus on what are the pain points that would guide someone, lead someone to you, and when they meet you and discover you, you're like a breath of fresh air. You're like the best thing they ever found. They're so happy they found you. How can we curate that experience? So that's why we always kick off this process by focusing on pain points. So number one, the first thing we're going to do is really consider and put ourselves in the shoes of the person that we are the most likely, we're going to go through this experience, this transaction, this back and forth with this client, and they're the most likely to come away from it just saying wow, that was the best experience. So this is not just someone who is a potential client of yours. This is someone who they're just going to be whoa, what you offer, I needed that. And it was I may not have even thought of this before, but I needed what you had to offer, right? So we're going to put ourselves in the shoes of that person who's just your ideal client, who you're most likely to just knock the ball way out of the park, grand slam, home run, win the game with. So when we take this approach, the content that we're creating is always fresh and new because we're considering this person this specific person, and I recommend that you build an avatar, maybe even name them, and you're building for one person. You really you know all the details about this person. So when you're creating content for them, it's always not according to the current trends that are going on online. It's always fresh and different because you're thinking about what this person needs, and it may be great for your keywords, and it might be strategic for other reasons in your business, but the main thing is that we're thinking about this person and creating content for them. It's always fresh, it's always dynamic, and it's always different. Okay, number 2. I'm sure you're going to relate to this, is every time we come across any sort of ad or any content that's designed to get money out of your pocket and into someone else's, we just swipe. Our brains have picked up on the difference between what is someone trying to sell to us and what is someone just sharing, and it's entertaining and fun to watch, and we differentiate. And when we're just scrolling on our phones, and I do this sometimes for people who scroll, and if your ideal clients are someone who scrolls, when they're going through this, they want to be entertained, and they're going to scroll right past anything that has to do with them buying something, because this is work. I have to consider whether or not I want to buy it, and I'm going to make a decision about this. This is work that needs to be put in. So we need to think of this from the point of view of someone who's just trying to take a break in life and just scroll, and bombarding this sort of person with ads makes it so that the media that you're investing in is super scrollable, and that's not anyone's goal. We don't want to participate in this landscape of needing to be super, super loud so that the people who are tuning out the ads still see us. And there's another trend going on, is that companies are doing this thing where they're trying to make their ads super approachable and authentic. And they'll have someone even filming on a phone, and it's not filmed on a phone. They filmed it with proper production equipment and then made it look like it was filmed on a phone so that it's more authentic. Or they'll destroy the audio, they'll on purpose destroy the audio because people are realizing that high quality audio is usually an ad. So these companies are making ads with low quality audio on purpose to try and mix in. They can't just be real and be human. Instead, they need to find ways to sneak into the real, authentic, actual content, which is hello. If they just came onto this point of just be human, introduce us to the people behind your brand, let us know the human, tell us a human story. Nope, they're super corporate-y, and this is the cell that they're in with their content. And this is why they have to do these tactics of low quality audio and creating just 5-second ads that you can't skip, and literally they have to bribe people. If you're playing a game, you can get advantages in the game if you just watch an ad. You need to bribe people to watch your content. That's where we're at. The opposite of that is to create a following, right? Number 3, when we get people who are thinking about their own problems, because we're all thinking about our own problems, and we can meet them there, then we get to number 4, which is they begin to identify with us, and they follow us, and they are even invested in our mission and what we do. They know that their world is made better by this thing, and they're even invested, and they're going to share and recommend all of your services and products to their own friends. This is the type of setting that we want to be creating, not bribing people to watch our content, but really getting people to be when they see our story or they see that we posted something new, that they're going to be interested and come back and click, and then maybe even share it to people because it's so helpful. And they were just talking about this thing, it's super valuable. So this is the environment that we're trying to create. Someone who identifies with your mission, and they are invested in you and your team, and they want to see you go further because they know that they themselves gain tremendously from what you have to offer, and they feel good about bringing it to other people because they know that their lives are going to get a lot better. So this is the difference between creating a following and having to constantly think of the new, loudest, most trendy idea in order to be able to advertise or market yourself to your potential clients. So I love this quote because it perfectly sums up what I'm saying, is if you can take a moment and consider something from someone else's point of view, you're winning. Because this is not you getting caught up in trends and needing to be super loud and get in someone's face. As soon as someone hears about you, you're going to be a breath of fresh air for them because you thought about them. you considered them. You really thought about what they're going through to the point where like you put yourself in their shoes as much as you can. And very often the founders and leaders of businesses are people who experienced something, so therefore they went out and created a solution. That's why founder stories are so powerful, is because people are going to be like, wow, your kid was dealing with that, or your business was dealing with that, or you were also dealing with that with your property or lawn, whatever it was, right? Whatever the problem was, if you've also experienced it, or even if you haven't experienced it, you could say, hey, I see you and your problem, and I am going to really help you here. It's going to be world-changing, and I'm actually going to be able to affect and help you because I've considered your experience extensively. Like, this is all I think about. And then they're going to want to come to you because you really, when you speak and when they speak to you and they connect with you, they feel heard, they feel understood, and they know that you get it. And I want to share that the last time I shared this, what I'm sharing now, in a webinar format, someone asked me, do we tell our clients that they're going through this pain point? And it was such a good question, and that's why I have to share it now. The answer is no, you're not telling them that they're going through that thing, right? You don't say, hey, stressed out mom, but instead you speak to looking for calm and peace in your home. Are you struggling with one of your children, right? The person who asked me that question was someone who helps achieve natural solutions for ADD symptoms for moms who are looking for some peace and quiet in their lives, and they don't have that. So we understand that their pain point is that they have no peace and quiet in their lives, but we don't say that to them. Like, we don't want to be in your face about that ever, right? So I would hate for someone to go over this pain points thing and be like, oh no, I have to tell them that they're going through this. They know they're going through this. By pointing out the benefits and the features, well, the features first and then the benefits, this is how we're going to explain to them that we get it. We've thought about your experience so much and we get it. And you can't fake that you get it. Either you get it or you don't. And for the people really going through this issue, if you really do get it, and that's truthful and genuine, then they're just going to connect with you. And it's real. It's actually like a connection there that you will be able to profit off of in the best of ways, because you're actually going to really be helping people. So the next important question after what are the pain points that people are dealing with that leads them to you, the second question is, what features do these people, when they encounter your features, do they feel like, oh my gosh, wow, like you thought through my experience and saw that I was going to need this before I even asked for it. Like, in your offer, in your package, you're thinking about my experience. So a really good example of this is Domino's Pizza, because they're open late, are pretty inexpensive compared to other options, and they deliver super quickly. So, and they'll deliver anywhere. That's like their thing. They'll deliver anywhere, right? So those features really lend themselves to college students. So they've like really thought about the person who's up late studying in a library on campus, or they're in their dorm room studying and they want something to eat and they don't have a full kitchen and they want that thing to eat that's going to be delicious, so they go with this option. So that's why we always need to ask ourselves is, what is going to be a breath of fresh air? And the reason why I use these words is because this is like something that someone is dealing with, and it's a persistent problem most of the time. And even if they haven't necessarily like realized that there's like a tack in their shoe that is constantly annoying to them or frustrating or something that they're dealing with, the second you point out the tack in their shoe, they're like, wow, my foot hurts, right? So they might not even thought that they're going through this, but the second you like pose it to them, they're like, wow, you know what? You're right. So a great example of that is Uber. Uber has everything is deliverable. So the pain point is you just went shopping. You have a whole thing going on. You're trying to cook. And this was literally their Super Bowl ad, by the way, in 2024. Someone's cooking, and then they realize, oh my gosh, I forgot an item, and they Uber Eats it over to themselves. So the pain point is you don't want to go out. You're not interested. You already went shopping, or you don't want to go shopping at all, and you forgot an item. So you're not going to do your whole shopping on Uber Eats or Uber, but you can get it done if there's like that little thing that you forgot. So there are features of being able to get it to you quickly, let you know when you're going to get it, so you can expect and know and plan accordingly. That pain point with those features are a breath of fresh air to anyone who like is planning a Thanksgiving meal and they realize like, oh my gosh, I forgot the filling or something for the turkey, and this ends up being like an amazing thing. They don't need to go back out, or they don't need to trouble someone to go get it. They can like have it at their house in 45 minutes, and know when it's going to come. That's an amazing thing. So once we get our features in line, and it's always different, and businesses in my mind should always be developing this and always be working off of like, here's the problems that we solve, and then different things that like clients are going to bring to you, or different issues, like you can eventually extend that, right? So being able to list out our features, all the things that we offer, all the different things that we've really thought of and considered the people that we want to be helping and adding value to their lives. We've considered these people, and we come up with a list of features, whether it's that we get something done quickly, or that we have a very specific process, a proprietary process, whatever it is. The features are there. We're going to go over what it's like to break down someone's features into benefits, but that brings us to the next part, which is the features really highlight the benefits. Let's do this. So this is like the whole theme, which is, what are we doing here? We're coming up with the words that you're going to base everything off of. So this is really like coming up with the names and the language, which is not only going to help you filter the good ideas from the bad and know what's on brand and what's not, but it's also going to help you like speak better to your clients. These are the words you're going to use to communicate the value that you deliver. And there's good words to use, and there's like things that are very clear, and there's things that just make it like obscure and they're not really sure. A good example of that is when people say that they're hardworking. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Like, you have one accountant versus another. One accountant has a specific program that helps you, and the other one says they're hardworking. Who are you going to pick? Like, if you say things that are like obscure, then you become like not the best option. So I use this as an example. This is a company that we worked with, a law firm, ASK LLP, and they have their features. So we're going to go over their features and be able to fill in the blanks here. These are our features, so what is the benefit? Let's go through that process together. So for them, they have a client-focused approach. This means that people can expect a very like human sort of element to like they can reach out and actually speak to a human being, and the human being is going to be reaching out and getting in touch with them, giving them updates. It's like, it's not an automated robotic experience where like you need to work hard to get in touch with the human. It's like almost like back to basics, where they are there for you and they invest heavily to be able to do that. Another feature of theirs is their very specific experience. So they have extensive experience in the bankruptcy area, and then they were able to go into mass tort areas and be able to offer to both. So what that means is when companies are getting sued by like thousands of people, they're able to represent these thousands of people. And when the company then goes into bankruptcy, which happens a lot, they're able to represent them throughout the entire process. So this is a proprietary like experience. Like, not everyone can say that. So with these features in mind is that they have their proprietary experience, something that not everyone has, and they have like a very specific and human approach. Again, something that not everyone can say. What are the benefits here, right? So you can consider someone who got involved in one of these cases, and they're one in thousands of people who are trying to get money back or reparations from being hurt in some way, right? So here they are, and they're like, they need someone to represent them, and they need someone who's going to be like the best case lawyer for them. So when they discover that there's a feature of, oh, you're going to reach out to me and connect with me, and I'm going to be able to reach out to you, and you'll be helping me in this way, it really highlights the pain points of like, like you could have a lawyer take on your case and then just not talk to you for months at a time because they just have such a huge workload. They have thousands of clients, right? So this benefit of, we are going to be in touch with you, and we're going to talk to you and connect with you and let you know what's going on throughout this process, really like is like, oh, because other lawyers may or may not do that. Like they haven't considered the experience of being part of one of these cases, being one in thousands, and not hearing from your lawyer at all, being completely ghosted by your lawyer, right? So the feature highlights the pain point, but you didn't have to say it out loud. So the features are like the little things that you've thought of, the little details, and then the benefit is like when you zoom out, having had these features, what am I gaining in life? Is it peace of mind? Is it confidence throughout a process? Is it like something could have been scary, but instead I felt calm throughout it? Like typically when we come up with the benefits, like these are the things that we come to, which is like peace of mind. It's usually an emotional thing at the end of the day. It's just life is like so much better. And it's just when you zoom out, you're like, wow, you could not put a price on that. Like peace of mind, you know, like this woman that I gave the example of before who helps moms gain like peace and cooperation in their house. Like, how do you put a price on that? Okay, so now we're at the step of bringing everything together. So when we get really clear on our pain points and then add that up with our benefits, it develops our message. Now, your message is very often a 1 to 2 liner, and it really sums up the entire experience. So this is not your website headline. This is not what you're saying to the public. This is very much like a back office thing. This sentence is not being said to your clients. This is all of the things that are being said to your clients are in line with this message. So you can't copy and paste your message onto your website. It would almost be like, it really goes back to that first point that I made, which is you're not telling your clients that they're going through something. You're not saying the pain point. You're highlighting the fact that you understand the pain point by offering your benefits and features. But every time you go to create that headline, create that blog, video, whatever it is, you'll be able to run it past this sentence, and your team will be able to run it past the sentence and say, is this in line with our message or is this not in line with our message? So I just want to make that as very important. Like, you're not going to be saying this exactly to your client. So we're going to take, for example, Daniel Rose, who's an acupuncturist and owns Azama Acupuncture, and we're going to go through his sentence. So if you experience difficulty, pain, discomfort, and you feel like you've tried everything, so he's identified that this person is exhausted. They've spent so much time in waiting rooms, and they've gotten the MRIs and the CAT scans, and they have foot pain or back pain. Like, they've done all the things. They've gone on YouTube and done the stretches, and they've, like, whether or not that's worked for them or not, like, there's all the things, and they feel like they've exhausted all their options, and they're just frustrated, and they don't, like, really just want to be taking pain meds. Like, this is the person who he's talking to in his media. So that's why his sentence explains, like, you feel like you've tried everything, right? So what are the features that he offers is a time-tested, highly reviewed approach. If you go online and you see his ratings, you'll see that he has like close to 60 or over 60 5-star reviews, which is huge. He would not be getting 60 5-star reviews if this was like fake or somehow like he was just a gimmick, right? This is something that not all acupuncturists can say. And I happen to know, being his media producer, that there's only one other acupuncturist in the area who she has like 150 reviews, and we're getting him there, right? So him having all these reviews is something that we can use that is proprietary. Not every acupuncturist can say that they have that many reviews and that they have that many stories of when they really delivered for people and when they were a breath of fresh air for this person. And then another really cool feature is that he will talk to your doctor and he'll go through your blood tests, and like he'll really use the medical system as it is in combination with what he offers to offer you a new perspective in combination, right? So you're not throwing everything out the door, you're just getting a whole new perspective. And at the end of the day, what's the benefit? We're talking about this person who, what they're going through, it's like, I need out, I cannot go through this anymore, right? So this is the person he's talking about, is they know they deserve relief. So he's speaking to them and saying, hey, you know you deserve relief. I get what you're going through. I'm going to give you these features to get out of that situation. And for that person, Daniel Rose is a breath of fresh air. And when they encounter Azama Acupuncture, all their media and all their content is in line with that. So here's what you're going to get when you have your pain points, benefits, and therefore your message. I know I covered this in the beginning in the intro, but here's more. So when you have your message, you know that your team is armed and equipped to be creating and pushing things out and testing ideas and getting results, and therefore improving and getting better and really being productive for your business and launching things forward. This first benefit is huge because you don't need to keep getting approval, and you don't need to have conference meetings and Zooms with 12 people to see if your company should be creating this content. You have the meeting, you discover your pain points, benefits, and therefore message, and then let the social media manager or whoever's part of your marketing team run wild with this message. Like, let them go out and test things. This is what we found to be way more effective than like hypervigilance or content calendars. Content calendars is where authenticity goes to die. So instead, we arm the creatives with the message and then ask them to create content in line with this message. And this could be done with influencer marketing or your marketing team, whatever, your social media manager, right? Everyone, as long as they have this sentence, will be creating things in line with what you want to be sharing. Which brings us to the second benefit, which is your social media team is going to have something to work off of. They're not guessing, it's way more confidence. The entire approach is, all right, let's try this because that's in line, and let's stay away from that, even though it's trendy or although it might get us a lot of views. It's not in line with our message, so we're going to stay away from that. And what this gives you is the next benefit, which is what we call the even if benefit. What this means is when you're creating content, whether we're talking video, live, social media content, whatever it is, when you're creating, all of this content stays online forever. So even if you have a specific campaign that you are launching forward and it doesn't hit the specific ROIs that you were looking for, even if you have so much more content online. When someone Googles you, you have like way more that's going to come up. And even if you have cross-references to other websites, and even if your SEO is improved, and even if you don't hit your specific marketing campaign goals, if someone asks you a question or you think that someone will gain from a specific point in a blog or a video that you've made, you can send them. You can be like, mid-conversation, be like, hey, I'm sending you a link. How cool is that? I like literally wrote a blog about what we're talking about. Or this question you just asked me, you also like don't need to take the time to answer it, right? Because you took the time to answer it, and you could send them an article or a video on your channels, on your platform. Like, how awesome is that, right? So very often we create content, and then if it doesn't achieve like the specific goal that we set out for it, we're just like, ugh. But the amazing thing is that you're talking about yourself online, you're showing up, people could see, learn about your company and the benefits of working with you. Like, you win no matter what. And this whole process just becomes easier and lighthearted and fun because you're not recreating the wheel every time you go to create content, and you don't get stuck with content calendars or hiring someone like young and with it to tell you what the trendy ideas are and then just like run with that. And like, it may or may not be in line with your business, it may or may not help you, but it'll get a lot of views, may not really be the best representation of your business, right? Like, that's why we like to stay away from trendy ideas and make these actual productive, helpful, valuable content ideas, even entertaining content ideas, and these all become really clear once we have a message. So most of what we shared today can be summed up by just understanding the humans that you are trying to connect with and add value to their lives. And what I always love to share whenever this comes up is something that I heard from Andy Grammer, where he shared in a video that he doesn't like olives. So much so that he was saying that he doesn't even understand anyone who does like olives. And he knows that to some people, his music is olives. He's a musician, right? And some people are just not, they just don't vibe with his music. And so much so that probably they don't even understand anyone who does like his music, right? It's olives. So when you're able to acknowledge yourself that what you have to offer to some people may be olives, what you're able to do is over-deliver to the people who love your olives. Or to them, you don't seem like olives. To them, you're like the best thing ever. So you can realign your focus to the people who stand the most to gain and are going to be the most ecstatic and happy and satisfied, leave positive reviews. So what I learned from this example is that if we can shift our focus from everyone to specifically the people who are going to be the happiest with what we have to offer, and we can over-deliver to them, that will bring about the success of our business. The reason why his concerts are packed is because he's specifically talking to the people who would love his music, and he's specifically creating content for the people who don't feel like he's olives, right? So I learned so much from this. Is like, let's not try to talk to everyone. Let's specifically talk to the people who stand the most to gain by connecting with us. So part of understanding the human that you are speaking to is asking yourself these 5 questions, which is, what are they going through? Putting yourself in their shoes, considering their POV, and whatever testing or research that you have to do in order to gain that insight, you gotta gain that insight. You have to be able to see things from their point of view. So the second question is, why do I deserve their attention? And very often, if you have something that is going to be a breath of fresh air to them, that's why. It's because you really could add to this person's life. So it just becomes what's the best way to respect their attention? When I do have their attention, how do I respect it the most? And communicate this in the best, most smooth way so that I'm not wasting any of their time. So number 3 is, where do I meet these people? And really getting an insight into their lives very often just reveals this. Is are they in specific WhatsApp or Facebook groups? Are they hanging out in specific support groups? Are they going to networking events? Gaining this insight into who your ideal client is reveals where they hang out and where you could possibly meet them. And I don't mean in person. This could be the platforms that they're on and the types of media that they like to consume. And if very often you're going for an older demographic, you might not be on TikTok, you might be a written ad. Or where can I meet these people could very often be your content should be and would be better served if it was a podcast or if it was on YouTube. Or it might be that once you discover where the people that you want to help, maybe they're on TikTok and maybe they're on Instagram, wherever they hang out online as well. And then what we come to is, what are they going to gain from, really actually gain from? What can we share that's going to really help someone to set them forward and give them an insight into wow, I was dealing with that and now I'm not going to have to deal with that anymore. That is amazing. So I trust that going through this experience yourself, where you get really clear on the pain points that would bring someone to you, either to end that experience or avoid that experience, whatever it is, and then creating or just coming up with better words to describe our features, leading us to our benefits, the big picture gains. And when you zoom out, these are the big things that we gained, and this is the difference and the value and the quality difference in our lives. Thank you so much for joining the Message Mastery Bootcamp. We trust that you're now millions of steps closer to achieving your business goals.